Today's episode is brought to you by Sniffy's Morphine Glue.
Sniffy's Morphine Glue, brought to you by Percon, makers of Where's My Nurse bedpans and Now That's a Catheter.
Are you fed up with the temporary highs of airplane glues and the temporary lows of prescription morphine?
Hospital-grade Sniffy's Morphine Glue gives you the best of both worlds. It's a nasal spray that keeps you somewhere between worlds, and it acts as a strong adhesive to mend all the broken crockery, pottery, and relationships you destroyed while you were using the product.
Sniffy's Morphine Glue. Glue you.
We're also brought to you by PSF, Pirated Sports Feeds.
Pirated Sports Feeds will give you all the thrills of baseball, football, and other seasonal delights without the hassles of commercial interruption.
I'm not familiar with this product.
Because you don't like sports.
No, I just don't like feeds.
PSF is the interweb standard for everyone who loves to watch their favorite sports team but doesn't want to let the sponsors have access to their eyeballs.
Wait, they're a pirate feed that doesn't like sponsors.
That's right.
And they're sponsoring us?
That's also right.
Are we being pirated?
I'll have to check.
So, are we being pirated?
Sure are.
Would anyone notice if we finish the commercials?
Couldn't hurt. We only have one left.
All right. Our last sponsor is St. Pravda's anti-pirating software.
Are you tired of pirating your sports feed?
Do you want to restore commercial sponsors to their rightful place in the marketing kingdom?
Then St. Pravda's anti-pirating software is your path to advertising dignity.
Sure, it's helping big business sell the restorative tinctures to you, but isn't that what consumerism is all about?
That and sex.
Oh, absolutely. How else would our economy survive without crucially sexy commercial interruptions?
So do your part. Install St. Pravda's anti-pirating software on all your digital devices so you can make corporate sponsors feel good about their part of the interwebs economy.
And isn't that what it's all about?
That and sex.
Oh, absolutely. And now, on to our show.
Get ready for the most excitement you can have on terrestrial television. The Road Rage 500, only on the Goat Stroker Network, with award-winning coverage by Terry Page and Jack Handel. People might think there are no rules, Jack, but in fact, they have quite a few. For instance, the spectators are required to drink.
And this year, the drivers are also required to drink.
Much more exciting that way. The Road Rage 500 will be broadcast live on a city street, local intersection, or high-speed interstate near you.
We're seeing a lot of international rages this year.
The Australian was favored to win, but he's already been knocked out of the race by the Belgian.
Well, Terry, the Aussie should probably learn to drive on the right side of the road.
Those Flemish are so quick to anger. The Road Rage 500 is the most exciting thing on the streets today, and it's mostly legal.
You know what they say, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the caliber of the bullet in the gun.
And that's why we don't announce the dog races, Jack. The Road Rage 500. Only on the Goat Stroker Network.
Good evening and welcome to Politics Tomorrow. I'm Brad Tomshaw, here in the studio in beautiful Los Angeles. Tonight, I'll interview the Republican candidate for president, Satan himself. After that, we will hear from Roland Headless, who will be talking with the current leader in the Democratic race for president, Buddy Walker. But first, we're going to look at Satan's rally in Arkansas last night. Lending his voice to the discussion is Stan Rice Holloway, President Huey Dingell's former speechwriter and current podcasting host. Stan, thanks for helping us navigate these tricky waters.
Brad, it's like we always say, there's no place like prime time.
No doubt, Stan, no doubt. Now, have you watched the rallies for the two contenders, Satan and Walker?
I sure have. I think this is shaping up to be a pretty significant race between the two beginners.
There are those who say the Republican Satan has a lot of experience as a ruler in hell.
Far as I can tell, he was a king, not a president. There's a big difference between government by fiat and government by the people, Brad. And we don't really have a record of his accomplishments, do we?
I mean, have you ever seen a live feed from hell or any interviews of anyone other than Satan and that Steinball fella?
Steinball, his representative?
Or his advisor, or his minister of earthly affairs, or whatever he is. Not a lot of transparency in hell, Brad. We're going to have to take Satan's word for all his accomplishments. Not sure the citizens of these United States are comfortable with that.
Is comfortable the word we want to use here?
Look, he's Beelzebub himself. No two ways around it. I was raised Catholic, so I'm pretty sure my hand would burn if I shook his, which I wouldn't on general principle.
Well, let's take a look at Satan's rally from Arkansas last night.
Now, a lot of you might be thinking, you can't believe a word from the father of lies, right? But that's where you're wrong, because I know what's best for the people of this fine country, because I've been a part of America all along. Whenever a Democrat has broken a promise, or cheated on his taxes, or rigged an election, I was there. And so you can believe me when I tell you I know their playbook. Hell, I wrote it. And that's why you want me leading the Republican team, because I'll know how to keep the country safe for the ones who want to subvert the will of the people to their own nefarious, dangerous, misguided ideas.
Were they calling him Big Daddy?
I think it's a meme from his IRS showdown.
It's somewhat disconcerting to think that in this brave new century, the only Republican contender is actually the devil. It makes me worry about the future of the country, Brad.
His polling looks good, too.
Be honest, Brad, he's statistically tied with the Democrat.
Okay, it is 50 Satan, 48 Walker, and 2 undecided.
Well, you never want to be that undecided fella. But I tell you what, Brad, I still like Walker's chances. He's a complete newcomer, but his message is a lot more, wholesome, less deranged.
Well, he certainly doesn't mention hell as much.
And that's going to resonate with the voters more and more as the election season goes on.
Election Day is only 2 months away, Stan. Do you think Walker has the momentum to get ahead of Satan?
He's already polling better in the critical battleground states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. But I'd like to see the fat lady sing in a lot more states. He got a good message, and I think the people would really be willing to get behind him if they heard it.
Well, we're going to take a look at a rally Walker held in Maxasota Thursday night, but first, this.
Morning's got you down? Try the #1 method of avoiding daylight hours, Percon Locaine.
I've been on Percon Locaine for 96 hours. I don't even know where my bedroom floor is. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Percon Locaine is scientifically formulated to make you blind to clocks, deaf to ringing phones, and unresponsive to the fine motor control it takes to respond to texts from worried loved ones. You'll be in a dense cocoon of your own making.
And with the low resistance flip top cap, they can keep the low grade coma going all week long and into the weekend too.
And with our special dosage bottles, you'll have just enough Percon Locaine to last until your body just can't take no more. And then you'll be too weak to run to the store and buy more, so full recovery is guaranteed.
Unless you have the foresight to buy multiple bottles. Thanks, Percon.
Percon Locaine. Just one more thing Percon does to the people, for the people, and at the people.
Welcome back to Politics Tomorrow. With me is former Dinglehead speechwriter Stan Rice Holloway. Stan, let's watch a little bit of the Democratic frontrunner.
I say he the only runner, but let's watch it.
Friends, it's a long way to November, but I know we can all make it there together. And I'm here because you're there. And because you're there, I'm going to be the next president of these United States. Now, I know my opponent has been accused of a lot of terrible, awful, and frankly evil things, but I'm here to tell you that we are better than that kind of behavior because we are not him. So when you go into the voting booth in a few months, I want you to remember, I'm not him either. But I want you to remember who you are too. You're the hope and future of this country. And one day, you'll be the dreams and history of this country. And in 100 years, you'll be remembered as the people who kept Satan out of the White House and sent him back to hell where he belongs.
Back to hell! Back to hell! Back to hell!
And that was Buddy Walker from Maxisota Thursday night. Stan, how would you characterize Walker's message?
Well, he's coming across as the back to hell candidate, which seems to be resonating with the working class. I hadn't seen a lot of big donors from Silicon Valley getting on board yet, but yeah, he's still a new candidate.
Well, that's true. Walker and Satan both have been on the political scene for just a few weeks, and nobody's been talking about the missing Republicans anymore or the huge exodus of Democrats to the Republican Party.
It's kind of like it already happened, and let's get on with the story, Brad.
All right, well, let's play our part and get on with it. We're going to take a quick break and return with more Stan Rice Holloway to discuss the incumbent, President Huey Dingle.
Healthcare costs are skyrocketing across the country.
Everybody's getting sick all the time, and doctor visits aren't always covered by insurance.
If you can even get an appointment.
If you can even find a doctor.
If you can even navigate the parking lot in your condition.
And prescription costs have gone through the roof.
It's like the pharmaceutical companies want you to stay sick.
But Satan Corps has got you covered.
Announcing Satan Corps Unlimited Coverage.
From your pals at Satan Corps.
Satan Corps Unlimited Coverage looks out for you.
We can see you right now.
And we want you to live a long, healthy, productive life.
We all reap the benefits when somebody leads a lifetime of doing what they're told.
Pre-existing conditions.
Well, who cares? We all have something we're trying to hide.
Live near a toxic waste dump, tornado alley, or floodplain.
Extenuating circumstances don't bother us.
Thinking about skydiving, shark baiting, or joining the Road Rage 500.
We applaud your bravery, but never punish your premium.
And the premiums are minimal.
You know that soul you're not using?
It's really not a lot to ask, is it?
You already don't miss it, so sign it over to us and get the best health insurance money simply can't buy.
Satan Corps Unlimited Coverage has come for you.
And if you sign up in the next hour, we'll include a free Satan Corps tote bag.
It's perfect for carrying all the medications the 21st century has bestowed upon you. Act now.
Get your Satan Corps Unlimited coverage today.
Satan Corps. We put the hell in healthcare.
Sure do.
Yeah, what's up, Charlie?
I had to talk to somebody.
Oh, yeah? Did you call Bryce?
He's not answering.
Uh-huh. Did you try his personal number?
I don't have it. He doesn't like me.
Yeah, he likes me and I don't have it. Why are you calling?
Did you see it?
See what?
Buddy was on TV.
Yeah, I saw it.
He's running for president.
He sure is, yeah.
We gotta tell somebody.
Nobody believe us, Charlie.
Maybe, but did you see what happened?
Yeah, the people loved him. Back to hell, back to hell.
No, it rained.
Rained? So what?
So, he's a lifelike construct prototype, version 672.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 672. That's the one that, what?
That isn't supposed to get wet.
Oh, because it glitches with moisture. It shorts the veracity circuit.
And the integrity matrix.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna lose it.
But he might win.
Yeah, we need to tell somebody about this. Who?
I have an idea. I'll call you back when I have the details.
Okay, all right, I'll be around. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to Politics Tomorrow. We have Stan Rice Holloway, noted former speechwriter for President Dingle, and we're talking about the presidential race.
And how they running it.
We would be remiss to not mention your old boss's recent press conference, Stan. Have you seen this?
Oh, yes. I get a notification on my phone whenever Dingle does something.
It's not a long presser, so let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Huey Dingle.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you know, my term is about to come to an end, and even though I had just won a majority in both houses in Thursday Night Poker and appointed an additional 18 justices to the court, I'm not able to get those weasels to repeal the 22nd Amendment. Crazy, huh?
So, I guess I'll be leaving at the end of this term, and I promise I won't steal the silverware. But I'll be back. Don't doubt it, because you're gonna miss me. After all, who keeps you on your toes like I do? It's the ultimate will he, won't he boyfriend, right? Will he give me a one-on-one interview? Won't he stop threatening a trade war with Texas? Will he bring the hostages back from the Bahamas? Won't he ever discuss the economic ramifications of blah, 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 in press conferences at 3 a.m.? Hey, this is my reality, and you're my ride or dies, so you might as well call it my lame duck term. I call it my hot press summer. Anyway, let's get on with it. You've already sold your soul, so you get 3 questions, maybe 4. Hey, Tom, you're up.
President Dingle, why didn't you endorse your vice president for the nomination?
Hey, if you want the Dingle endorsement, you gotta earn it. The VP was too busy pretending to be important to meet my needs, and now I'm returning the favor. It's politics, Tom. Do you know the definition of politics? Oxford says it's the activities associated with the governance of a country, especially in the conflict among parties hoping to achieve power. And the VP and I have a conflict in him hoping to achieve power. Not a chance, unless he can finally beat me in leg wrestling. Next question. Lisa.
Sir, you've been quoted as saying you don't believe in aliens, yet your Secretary of State is from one of the moons of Jupiter. Have you changed your mind about aliens?
Lisa, your radical left-wing paper and its hard-right views aren't going to get me to badmouth a hard-working cabinet member like Gluperax. Why don't you just give it a rest and print some more lies about my affair with the vice president's wife? And no, I'm not going to answer any questions about that. I just said it was a lie, didn't I? No need to drag that sweet little honey's name through the mud in your rags. She'll never call me again.
Mr. President, sir, Mr. President, sir.
Lies, remember? All lies. Besides, what is an affair, really? All right, Frankie, you're up.
Mr. President,
Lies, Frank, lies.
Lies, sure. Mr. President, what I was going to ask is your opinion of the current Republican field.
What field? It's just come down to one candidate, right? The Dark Horse?
The Dark Lord, Sir, Satan.
Him. Yeah. Look, we've had multiple encounters with Satan in the past, and he's not as bad as the movies would have you think. He's been governing hell for a long time, so he's got lots of experience, and he seems to be popular among the swingiest voters.
Are you endorsing Satan, Mr. President?
Are you kidding? He's the devil. Besides, I'm not a Republican. I'm keeping my eye on that Walker guy. Really sharp. Remember his name's athletic build. Looks like he was built in a lab to be a president. And seeing how he's the last remaining Democrat, I'll be keeping an eye on him. Okay, one more question. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny. Joey, go.
President Dingle, can you tell us more about your new economic proposal?
Oh, you mean Reconomics? Joe, sometimes you got to make a few omelets by breaking a few budgets, you know what I mean? We have to get this country on the right track, and if that means plowing up the highway to find the racetrack, I'm going to be the guy with the dynamite, you know what I mean?
Are you saying you're willing to...
I'm willing to be upfront about how far behind we are in a forward-looking tax structure that takes less than it makes vis-a-vis the lower upper middle class and the downtrodden 1%. Joe, it's like I always say, for the first time, this country has got to pay its bills, and in order to do that, we have to collect enough money from our debt holders to avoid taxing the people Congress want to coddle and fondle.
Sir, are you saying...
And before you say anything, Joe, I think it's a dream every patriot shares that in the days, weeks, and press conferences to come, questions like yours will never need to be answered again. Thanks for coming out, members of the press. I can't wait until we can have a fourth estate sale. Let's go. Move. Let's get out of here.
Stan, we've been friends a long time.
And before that, we was pretty good enemies.
Right, but I have to ask you if you think 8 years of the governmental hijinks of President Dingle's administration has made the country tired of politics.
Now, that's a sobering question, Brad, and I have to be honest. President Dingle is still a friend of mine, even though I resigned as head speechwriter a couple of years back. I thought Dingle had fresh ideas, and I still do, but a lot of them are just becoming kind of peculiar.
Like Reconomics?
Like Reconomics. Obviously, that was after I left, but talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But before I left, he was already doing some things I had issues with. Why on earth would an American president need to invade Puerto Rico? It's a U.S. territory, so we already getting free parking.
Well, he did free the governor.
After 3 months, yes. But that doesn't endear him or his policies to the history books. And I think Dingle's record for the first 4 years was pretty good.
Stan, he did get a number of landmark legislative accomplishments through a divided Congress, and he balanced the budget twice.
Don't forget his historic Middle East peace accords.
Right, but he's not endorsing his vice president, Vic Pressman.
There's no love lost between those two men, I can tell you. I think Vic Pressman is an honorable man who hasn't really done anything to deserve the outright ire of the president. But I get a feeling he's going to retire to a cabin in the Tennessee hills when this election is over. He didn't even want to run for president, although he kind of ought to just to save face.
Any truth to the rumors about President Dingle and the Second Lady?
Now, Brad, why you had to bring a perfectly good wine to the party and take a leak in it? Miss Pressman is a fine, devoted wife, and she can definitely handle herself in a press conference. I can assure you there was no hanky nor panky going on in the Naval Observatory.
I'm sorry, Stan. As a reporter, I just had to ask.
I know, and it grieves me to have to cut off one more snake from Dingle's pack of lies. He's bringing the party down up and down the ticket.
Which brings us to the current Democratic nominee for president, Buddy Walker.
Now, there's an interesting fella. Seemed like a friendly guy.
We'll be running Roland Headless's interview with him later in the show.
I gotta say, he sure seems to be built out of pure presidential material.
He certainly does. Well, as always, thanks for joining us, Stan Rice Holloway.
Brad, it's a pleasure and a paycheck to join you.
Coming up next, my interview with Satan. You know what they say about cancer.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, but I think they mean it.
That's why Satan Core has made it possible for you to fuck cancer.
Hard.
That's right. In the privacy of your own home or in the backseat of your daddy's car, you can raw dog this killer disease.
And if you're more cautious, you can always wear protection.
But the point is, you've been saying this for years, in memes, t-shirts, bumper stickers, and casual conversation.
And Satan Core has delivered.
At a low, low introductory price.
For only $79.99, you can have a night of weird, unbridled passion with the second biggest cause of death in this country.
Heart disease? We're coming for you next.
But this price won't last long, so visit SatanCore.com/cancerho to sign up now.
Because Satan Core knows cancer isn't pretty.
But that's not why you want to do it. Welcome back to Politics Tomorrow. Tonight I'm speaking with Lucifer B.S. Morningstar, the Dark Lord and ruler of hell, otherwise known to the world as Satan. He has become the leading contender for the Republican nomination for president this year under somewhat unusual circumstances. Mr. Morningstar, good evening and welcome to Politics Tomorrow.
Good evening, Brad. Happy to be here.
Now, prior to broadcast, our research team had a bit of a debate over your proper name. You are on the ballot as Lucifer B.S. Morningstar, yet you go by Satan. Now, there have been references to perhaps Beelzebub or Mephistopheles and simply the devil, but you go by Satan, which seems to be the favored name in religious texts and popular song. Perhaps you could explain. I'm sure the voting public would love to get a little background on you.
To be honest, Brad, I consider myself to be an open book. My full name is Lucifer Belial Satan Morningstar, but Satan has a better name recognition. My father gave me that name.
So you're choosing your preferred name by polling?
Brad, as public figures, we must give the people what they want.
Thank you for clarifying, Mr. Satan. You've obviously been in the national consciousness for millennia, but usually as an adversary. Your recent activity seems to be something of a 180, though. First, you announced plans for Satanland, a theme park to be built in Arizona. And what is the status of that project, by the way?
It's still in development. We had a recent misunderstanding with the IRS, so Satanland is going to move forward after the election.
Which is a perfect segue to my next question. It's been only a few weeks since you ascended from hell and threw your hat into the political ring. Just before that, the entire Republican field seemed to simply disappear, and all the leading Democrat candidates switched parties to become Republicans. Yet none of those newly converted are running for president. Some naysayers say you used nefarious methods to crush your opponents. Any thoughts on that?
I can honestly say that wasn't me.
Mr. Satan, you can understand the skepticism of that claim.
Brad, I would have preferred to earn the nomination through the traditional method by proving myself the best candidate via debate and honest effort. However, I will admit the way things turned out saved me a lot of time and energy. I can devote those savings to showing the people of this great nation that I am truly the best choice for president.
Well, Republicans seem to be embracing you, and independents are at least interested. The Ohio caucus is just a week away, but all indications point to you winning the primary by default. Do you think you'll get the evangelical vote?
Well, why not? The evangelicals certainly believe in me.
Well, they believe in you, but they're not on board with your policies.
We just have to use the right media outlets. Look, my policies are only part of the platform.
And what is your platform?
It's very simple, Brad. I want to lower taxes, grow the economy, strengthen our borders, be tough on China and Russia, and bring morality back to America.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
Not at all, considering your past.
Look, politics is big business, and morality is good for business. It makes people more likely to choose a side, and when they do, they choose me. That's why I'm good for business, and I'm good for America.
All right, well, let's talk qualifications.
Well, Brad, I've been running hell for millennia, and that's dealing with multiple levels of management, complaints, goals, numbers, and rival forces all the time, just like the government.
Right, but to be president, you have to be born in America.
Born in America? Sin is all American.
But do you think that will stand up to Article 2 of the Constitution?
Honestly, Brad, the Republicans are on board, so this is a non-starter.
Getting to the campaign, you had a rather rocky start after your announcement. Can you tell us about the shakeup in your staff?
Oh, there was nothing rocky about it, Brad. I initially hired the Angel of Death to be my campaign manager because he literally knows everyone. But he kept losing contacts during every meeting since the contacts tended to drop dead. So I decided to switch over to my business manager and longtime associate, Dan Steinball. He's been great.
Dan Steinball was a low-level accountant when he died years ago. How did he go from relative obscurity to running the presidential candidacy of the Prince of Darkness?
Brad, I renounced my claim to the throne weeks ago. As for Dan, we became acquainted in hell. Dan's very smart, very motivated, and he obviously saw a winner and signed up to make sure the people of this country gets the government they deserve.
Ominous words from a frightening being. Mr. Satan, thanks for being on the program.
Well, thanks for having me, Brad. Oh, and here's a campaign button.
Well, thank you. Ow, that drew blood.
Did it? Sorry. Old habits, Brad.
We'll be back with Roland Headless and the lead Democratic contender after this. Ow, that really hurts.
Have you been injured or killed in an accident?
Have you wanted to exact revenge on your neighbors but feel like it needs to look legal?
Call Nolan & Dolan Law Firm now.
That's right. Nolan & Dolan guarantee results or you don't pay a lot.
I'm Bobby Nolan.
And I'm Roger Dolan.
And we're back from rehab and ready to exact lawful vengeance on the target of your choosing.
We can use all the legal terms.
Rotchit's liquitor, am I right?
And look damn good in a tailored suit.
These razor-sharp creases are here for you.
Nolan & Dolan Law Firm are dedicated to serving the law.
So dedicated that we're dedicating our next 12 weekends to court-ordered community service for unfortunate events that occurred since our last commercial.
Nolan & Dolan Law Firm would like to publicly apologize to Chokes and Folks Strangulation Services, the Chinaville Automatic Chopsticks Union, Meriwether Bath House, and the fine workers at Pangaea and Sticky King.
So sorry, our ketamazeptic rampage was swift but terrible.
And it won't happen again.
That's right, because we've gone clean.
Clean broke, which is why we want to re-earn your trust by destroying your enemies in court.
Nolan & Dolan Law Firm, we have all the experience but none of the clientele.
And we're hungry for your business.
Because we're hungry.
Nolan & Dolan Law Firm. The state bar has us on probation.
So we promise we'll be good.
Welcome back to Politics Tomorrow. We're going to take you to Roland Headless at the Democratic National Headquarters in Minneapolis. Roland, you had a chance to interview the solitary Democratic candidate for president, Buddy Walker.
I did, Brad. Walker is a new face on the scene, and he's very upfront about it. But he's also determined to win the presidency.
Well, let's roll the tape.
Presenting a Politics Tomorrow exclusive. Buddy Walker, welcome to Politics Tomorrow.
Thanks, Roland. I appreciate your interest.
You're currently the only Democrat running for president, so what can you tell us about yourself?
Gosh, what would you like to know?
Start off by telling us about yourself. I can't find much on the internet about you.
Oh, that's because I was never on any of the social media platforms. I couldn't afford a smartphone until recently. My parents weren't wealthy people, and I mostly inherited overdue bills when they passed away a few years ago.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
I know they're in a better place now, Roland, and they're proudly looking down on me, their only son, making a name for himself in this great country.
Speaking of names, is Buddy a nickname?
Yeah, they originally called me Bobby, but they started calling me Buddy when I was young, and it just stuck.
So, where did you grow up?
In the Midwest. We moved a lot, so I can't really claim an actual hometown, so I just say the Midwest.
How about your education?
I have a GED that I earned while working 3 jobs, and I had been
thinking about going to a community college when I realized I could get a better education serving
the people of this country.
You were in the military?
No, in the service industry. I started off as a server in my teen years at a local mom-and-pop restaurant, Chicken Delight. The owner, Mr. Wayne Christopher, passed away a few years after I left, and the restaurant was repossessed. They turned it into high-rent condominiums. After that, I joined up with some migrant workers to pick fruit for a farmer who paid us under the table. It was there I started to learn the struggles of the common man and of the plight of immigrants in this country.
Is that why you're polling so well with Latinos?
Quizás, pero habría que preguntarles.
Understood. Let's skip ahead a few years. What were you doing when you decided to run for president?
I was volunteering in a local children's hospital. Reading books to the patients and helping them and their parents adjust to the situation. You can't really understand the human experience until you've seen the light in the eyes of a terminal child glowing brightly in spite of their diagnosis. It's so...
Buddy, are you all right?
I'm sorry. It's just... I'm thinking of all those children, and modern science still can't help them.
That's one of your signature campaign platform proposals to help eradicate childhood diseases.
Roland, I have seen far too many children taken from us at an early age because of diseases we should have already cured. It makes you want to find a way to give them their full lives, and for me, it made me want to devote my life to something powerful enough to help them achieve that goal. And Roland, what is more powerful than the presidency of this great nation?
Well, that's a very admirable reason, Buddy.
I'm not doing this for the admiration.
I'm doing this for
the children.
Exactly. And their parents. And for the people who don't have a strong voice. Roland, we were founded on the promise of equality, and it's time we live up to that promise.
Well, I appreciate your forthright answers, Buddy. If I might ask you one other question.
Oh, of course, Roland. I'm sorry if I've rambled on too much.
Not at all, Buddy. It appears you're the only Democrat in the race, now that all your potential competitors have switched parties. As the last Democrat left standing, what is your message to the party?
Roland, after seeing the people of this great nation, seeing their true lives and circumstances, seeing them outside of the perspective of the Beltway and the mainstream media and the social media, I chose the Democratic Party. I chose this party because they have always been the party of the underdog, of the oppressed, of the ones who need a fighter, and I am that fighter, Roland. I am the fighter for little Juliet, who just found out she won't see her 8th birthday. For proud Diego, who toils in the fields for half the pay so he can provide for his family, and for all the Mr. Christophers out there who have devoted their lives to feeding their community in a clean, well-lit restaurant, only to have it be torn down and converted into high-priced luxury condos. I fight for the Democratic Party because they fight for the common man, and that man is us, Roland.
Thank you for your story, Buddy, and good luck in the election.
Well, thank you for your time and interest, Roland.
This has been a Politics Tomorrow exclusive.
A very interesting interview, Roland, and a very interesting candidate. Where did that stirring music come from toward the end?
No idea. I think it was his phone.
Very interesting. And that's all for Politics Tomorrow for tonight. Join us tomorrow for a look back at yesterday.
Hi, friends. I'm Slappy McMember from the TV commercials like this one and all the other ones my agent can arrange.
And I'm Libby Hardelina, Slappy's TV wife in all the commercials. And we're here today to tell you about a great opportunity for anyone 60 or above. The Cathetars.
The Cathetars is a quiet community for those nearing the end of their productive years, if you know what I mean.
I know I do, Slappy. I'm 78, and this is the kind of place I wish had been around when I began winding down my career on commercials like this.
That's right, Libby. The cathetars provide peace and serenity without too much resentment in society. The trees that surround the cathetars are all of medium height without being too imposing, and the lawns are maintained between the hours of 2 and 4 p.m. to reduce nap time impact.
Tastefully integrated wall sockets cover 85% of the walls, so you'll always be able to find a place to plug in your specialized medical equipment.
That's right. Voice-activated controls respond instantly to commands like, I'm cold, and it's too damn hot, with patented industrial furnaces and freezer components.
And get this, friends. All the stairs lead down. It's a special architectural triumph that you just don't appreciate until you need to.
And did we mention the warm water bidets installed in every seat in the house? No? Well, I shouldn't have to. It's the sort of thing that just ought to be inferred, and I just did.
Slappy, you always play such a gentleman. But it's true, folks. Even the abbreviated dining nook stools utilize warm water jets to keep you clean where you need it most.
And just look at that view.
Oh, Slappy, you charmer.
No, gosh, no. I'm talking about the view from this dining nook. It faces the interior of the cathetars community, so you can always know what your neighbors are up to.
Because you just know those people across the street are troublemakers.
And now you can keep your model citizen's eye on them while warm jets clean your nethers during breakfast.
Speaking of models, none of the televisions in each housing unit have off switches. And in the unlikely event of power failure, battery backups keep the game shows and infomercials coming for up to 72 hours of uninterrupted background noise and entertainment.
And say, do you like pets?
I sure do.
Well, the cathetars is a pet-friendly development with some restrictions.
We love the small yappy dogs that bark at everything, but we're unable to accommodate dogs that can knock over the mailman and cats that possess a higher intellect than their owners.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Bethany.
Is Bethany your ex-wife?
No, she's my smarty pants cat.
The cathetars, secluded housing for 70 and above.
So speak with one of our friendly patient representatives today to find out how you can wrap it all up at the cathetars.
Lies, Frank. Lies.